Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Elizabeth and this is the Joyful Sojourn, a community of people that love stationery and planning and doing things creatively on paper. And if that sounds like your kind of community, I hope you'll consider subscribing to my channel. Today is a continuation of my 2026 planner lookbook series. If you don't know what that is, every fall I basically review as many planners as possible here on my channel just so that you have the information that you need to make a purchase and decide what planner is for you in the new year. I show a lot of different planners, so I always have to say, like, I don't expect you to buy all the planners, and please do not buy all the planners. Make an informed decision based on reviews like my planner lookbook series, your budget, shipping, and just what your lifestyle is and what kind of layout will work for you. So I'm not here to push consumerism and to buy all the planners. I am here to show you a lot of planners that are exclusively online. You can't see them in a brick and mortar and you're kind of purchasing blind. In some events or in some cases, I will purchase them myself so that kind of take one for the team and then you can see a flip through, or in many cases I'm gifted a product so that I can review it here on my channel. And I do not do paid collaborations for the lookbook series. It's just an exchange for products so I can show as many planners as possible. Today's emphasis is on Sterling ink. These are planners that I did purchase myself during the launch, and the main one that people freaked out over is this new kind of catch-all complete planner. It's a hardbound book, and yes, I did order it. I think in like the first 5 minutes they sold out. And so they are available or will be available again. Catherine's going to release an additional I don't know if it's going to be pre-order or if once they're in stock, she's going to list them again. They're not even on the website the last time I looked, but I'm going to take a look at the complete planner. And I did also get an A6. I think this is horizontal. Yeah, full year horizontal. So we're going to flip through these. I also grabbed some things to do a comparison with because I don't know how many folks who watch my channel are familiar with, I don't know how many are familiar with Sterling ink. And so I grabbed a few other planners for comparison, and I'm going to stop talking and get into it. I will leave timestamps down in the description box. So if you're looking for a little bit of information, definitely check out the description box. So these arrived just as is. I have not opened them yet. You also get this little envelope here, which is probably a little freebie, a little thank you. So we can check this out. All of the illustrations on the designs for Sterling ink stickers are made by the owner, Catherine. Very beautiful illustrations. I used to get the sticker subscription, but I ended up having too many stickers that were kind of similar. So I switched over to the Simple Paper Co. sticker, monthly sticker kit. But the sticker designs, no doubt, are just lovely. And knowing that she hand draws them herself makes it even more special. So we have a this is just a March collection freebie. Okay, so maybe everyone's going to get a different freebie, but these are washi material stickers, which is nice. And then we have a soft touch card that has information about Sterling ink. So you can go ahead and scan this if you want to learn more about the company. They are a US based company, and I think they're out of New Jersey, I want to say. So very blessed for those of us that live in the US. I'm going to go ahead and open this up. The packaging is gorgeous, okay? It is so pretty. We have a nice kind of not hard paper. Who am I? Cardstock, black cardstock. We've got it etched with Sterling ink here. A little pocket window here to show what the planner is. And I got the mist color in this A6 size. On the back, you can see exactly what the product is. And let's just go ahead and do this unboxing experience. Very pretty. Oh, love that we have a pencil board that's going to match the size of the planner itself. And again, I got the 2026 A6 horizontal compact full year. So we're going to flip through that in just a moment. Let's open this guy. The complete common planner. Got the vertical, A5 vertical. Only available in 2 sizes with this new planner, the A5 and the B6. Wow, that is stunning. Really beautiful pencil board. And like that I got 2 different designs here. She illustrated these images. So cool. On the back, we have our 2026 year. Now I got a couple of planners from Sterling Ink last year, and they also had these pencil boards. So I'm just going to go ahead and make a blanket statement that these are just always going to come in the planners. But I'm not affiliated with the company in any way, so that could change. But love having these, and they are just a really nice kind of cardstock with the glossy matte gloss, smooth, matte, but a little glossy cover. I don't know how to describe that. Okay, so we have the pencil boards, but the other thing we are going to do in this video is I actually ordered a couple of pencil boards from JoJo's Pretty Paper Shop. And I thought that for folks who are using the Tomoe River paper or just really that Japanese style paper that's really, really thin, you're going to want to, you know, consider getting a pencil board. So I got an A5 and a B6 from JoJo's Pretty Paper Shop. So we're going to look at these once we get through our flip through so you can see. I got one for this size, not for this one, but I thought it would be good to show it in this video because if you're shopping these planners, you probably want a pencil board. Okay, so let's start with this. I'm gonna start with this one. Normally, I like to start with the least exciting one because I figure, let's zoom in, kind of get the smaller ones out of the way, but I do think that we need to get into this first. First of all, this is shrink wrapped. I don't think I was expecting that, but I guess it makes sense. I don't know. I get the hardbound as well from Hemlock and Oak, and those aren't shrink wrapped. So I don't know. That just must be a manufacturer thing. And I actually don't hate it because it is going to protect the cover. There were two color options in the complete planner. The first is this, I want to say was it called graphite? Graphite, charcoal, I'm sorry. Charcoal. The other was that kind of soft muted pink color, and I just figured this was going to hide stains. Oh, that is really, really sexy. That is a sexy planner. I figured that this color was going to be just safer for me. It is definitely a cloth material. It feels like a cloth bound book. On the spine, we have 2026 A5V for vertical. On the back, common planner, designed by Sterling Ink in that gold foiling. One of the things that intrigued me the most about this was actually the elastic band. I am not shy or short on Archer and Olive notebooks that have elastic bands, but never have I seen one that is actually affixed to the back board so that it's not coming out from the back of the planner. So this planner is completely neutral in the back, and your ribbon is going to come from the back inside cover to cover this. This is fabulous. Now, I'm a diehard Hemlock and Oak person, and we will do a couple of comparisons. Hemlock and Oak does not have an elastic band on it. They do sell elastic bands that clip onto the back and actually mimic this situation where it looks like it's coming from inside the planner. I would love to see Hemlock and Oak do a similar technology. I think that would be really, really nice to have something built in coming from the inside. But I mean, I guess buying them individually from Hemlock and Oak is also an option. You can change the color. So I guess that flexibility of having them be purchased separate maybe is a better deal. But all that to say, this to me is a little cutting edge and I really like it. I also like the thickness of this strap. Again, coming from the Archer and Olive world. I don't know. Yeah, I think this feels, it's a wider, granted, I know that this is a pocket size, but yeah, I mean, it's a wider band. So this feels like a wider band and it feels significant. The other thing that I like about it being on the inside is if you don't want to use it, you can either just snap it back around the back cover, right? Because now it's not being used and it's totally neutral, or you can cut it off right here if you want to. but I actually really, really like this band. I'm more likely to cut out the ribbons on the inside than this elastic band. So just wanted to talk about the outside of the component, and it feels nice. Like this material feels nice. The only thought I have, like when I compare it to, again, a hemlock and oak and the common planner, this actually feels like, or maybe it is, fabric that is glued down. And if you kind of push it and move, it does. Is it moving, or am I just making that up? I don't know. Whereas this is also like that. It has the same or similar textured material, but it doesn't. This feels like it's wipeable. Like if you drop something on it, you could wipe off spills. This, because I actually think that it is fabric. I'll fact check myself. I can update the description box if anything, if I say anything wrong, but it feels like fabric. So it could, I think, then stain, right? Because it doesn't feel like it's coated, whereas this hemlock and oak feels like it's got something over it that, that makes it kind of a little bit more textured, but like slippy, if that makes sense. So again, I do very detailed reviews. So if you need to watch me in like 2 times speed, please feel free to do that. All right, now we're actually gonna jump into the planner, and I'm excited for this. This is an off-white color, very pretty cream, and we get into our planner. So this is, I think, the 52-pound Tomoe River paper, and I mean, it's just, the paper feels beautiful. I think what's confusing me, coming from and being kind of a diehard hemlock and oak person, when I see a hard cover, I expect the paper to be thicker. Like even my Bibles are soft bound with this really thin Bible paper. So it's a bit of a mental shift for me going from a soft bound Bible thin paper to a hard. I know that there are hard bound Bibles. I know that they're in church pews all across the world. But from a planner perspective, it just feels a little different having such a soft and thin paper on a hardbound book. But I think she must have done this because a lot of people requested it. So I'm not making any statements that I don't like it. It's just a mental thing for me that it's hard, but the paper is thin. Whereas, you know, with hemlock and oak, if I'm using a book bound like that, I'm expecting the paper to be a little bit more significant, and it's not. So we have our 2026 at a glance. This is going to be the same exact calendar as our pencil board, and I appreciate that both are here because this is going to presumably kind of migrate across your planner as you go. And the point of a pencil board, I guess we can, well, we'll talk about pencil boards later. Let's keep moving. So we have our 2026. We have 2 buffer pages with our graph grid. So whatever you want to do here, if you want to decorate them, if you want to make tracker pages, if you want to do your word of the year, vision casting, whatever, you can do that. We have goal breakdown pages, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we have 6 goals that can be broken down from someday to 1 year, half year, quarterly, monthly, weekly, and daily. And this is just a method for, I mean, I think of it as accountability. Like if you have this goal that seems insurmountable, the key is actually breaking it down into bite-sized pieces. So maybe starting from here and moving that way. So we've got our goal breakdown pages. Then we have our yearly tracker. These pages are always my favorite in any planner, no matter the layout, no matter the binding style. I just like them. Sometimes I use them, sometimes I don't, but this is a security blanket for me. I love having a place to see my year at a glance where I can track my period or my steps, or I can track my daughter's school calendar, birthdays, anniversaries. You can do this purely functional, seeing your full year at a glance, or you could use it for everyday tracking. I've seen people use this for book logging. So, right, you know, whenever you start a book, write the name of the book on that day, and then you can draw a line. And then when you finish it, finish up the line and write the next book that you start. And then you see in one full 2-page spread all the books that you've read over the course of the year. We are not short on YouTube of examples of how to use the yearly trackers, and I highly recommend you check them out. Don't sleep on this layout because it's really cool. We have shaded weekends. So that's just a way when you're looking at October, for example, your eye can make sense of the month of October vertically when you see the splits or the breaks with weekends. So I do like that touch. And along with the date right underneath it, you have what the day of the week is, which is nice. So you have 2 lines per day of the week. So you could track something and you could have room for a birthday or anniversary or whatever. Then we get into our quarterly pages. Again, I'm obsessed with these sorts of layouts specifically because we have expanded vertical at a glance columns, which I think is really nice. So over here we have a space for priorities, January, February, and March. You can write your priorities for each month here. And then if you want to do tracking within each month on a grander scale, you can do this here. One of the changes she made to this layout this year was instead of highlighting these like we see in the yearly tracker, she switched to just having the dates be circled. I like that. I think that looks nice. It looks nice and minimalist. If you want to add a little bit more color, you could easily grab a dot pen, like a Zig Clean Color dot pen, and just put a little dot over the outlined dot, and you can mark it that way. And I love that we have room up at the top for any notes we want to take, or if we want to title the top of what we're tracking here, you can do that. And then you have open space down at the bottom. One thing I didn't point out is that these pages are dated. I love that. Are these dated from the beginning? 6. So the dating starts on page 6. Not dating. Page numbering starts on page 6. I don't know why it starts on page 6 as opposed to here, but I guess that would be a good use for these 2 front pages, is making some sort of index. So you could certainly do that with those early pages, and then the actual tracking and logging of life starts on page 6. So yeah, I guess that would be good for the index. So quarter 2, April through June, exactly the same. Quarter 3, July through September, exactly the same. And then, did I miss one? I think I missed one. Yeah. July through September, and then October through December. Then we get into our monthly planning page. And I really like this monthly. It's very neutral and clean. And we actually have the week numbers marked here. Really teeny tiny, but we have week 49, 50, 51, 52, and then week 1. This is the first week of the year. So you are getting 1 bonus month. Do we have bonus weeks in here as well? We do. We have, oh wait, no. You get 1 month. You get December. Yeah, 1 monthly, and then 2 pages of some buffer, and then we get into our weekly. Now, these pages are still numbered, and then you have the color of the month number, which translates really nicely as you're going about your year. You can see them here, or you can add tabs. I did order some tab tape from Lauren Phelps Designs to give a try, and then my diehard favorite tabs, unless the tab tape is bloomin' awesome, is the tabs from Stylish and Minimal Coat. These are actual like plastic tabs. The font choices are gorgeous, and like this one has these tabs I think were for the Hobonichi Cousin, which is basically an A5, which is why I used that for this Hemlock and Oak. So I would probably get these again and use them in this size planner, in the complete planner. But if you didn't want to, if you just wanted the color to mark, you can do that. Okay, so let's take a look at the weekly layout. Weekly layout, we have the month range numbers here, week 1 label, and then we have the whole month at a glance, and then the current week that we're looking at is circled. So if you want to make that bolder, again, you can use a highlighter, but I like that it's a really kind of nice line there. We have an open margin here, margin down at the bottom, and then our hourly layout is pretty significant. We go from 6 a.m. to midnight, but we also have 2 extra rows above the 6 a.m. If your morning routine starts before 6 a.m., you can log that. And then we have space down at the bottom after midnight. You could easily just draw a line across if you want additional note space here, or if you want to do like your meals for the day, meal tracking, your fitness watch, tracking your spouse or partner or child schedule. You could add that down here. So lots of formatting you can do. I really like the graph grid on planners like this because you can kind of create your own dashboard with each layout. The font choice and the size of the font for the hourly is so nice. She's aligned these numbers right on the line. So if you look at it long enough, you won't see those numbers anymore if you are not hourly time blocking. What's interesting for me is I never used to be a vertical planner, and I've started to get more into the vertical layout. And even if it doesn't have an hourly layout on the vertical, I am still listing the events that are happening, the meetings, stuff like that, kind of in order from morning to night vertically, whether or not there's a vertical hourly stamp going down it. So I like the idea of having an hourly layout like this when it's so neutral, and I can either ignore it or I can honor it by basically putting things in my planner in the order that they're happening through the course of the day. Now I'm going to pause here. Actually, what we're going to do, let's finish through this first month's flip through, and then I'm going to flip to the middle of the planner, and I'm going to pull over a hemlock and oak. I don't have a vertical for 2026 yet. I'm getting actually the B5 minimalist vertical that hasn't shipped yet. So stay tuned. I will have more hemlock and oak on my channel, but I will show you a different vertical, an undated vertical from last year, just to make a comparison. So you can see the difference between the vertical layouts. But let's go ahead and flip through, because the biggest thing about the complete planner is that for the first time we see, well, except for the hemlock and oak, which I've ordered and it is coming at some point, and we will do a comparison for sure, a comparison video of the complete planner from Sterling Ink and the new weekly plus daily from Hemlock and Oak, because those two releasing for the first time ever for 2026, and they look fabulous, and I want to see how they compare to each other. So for the first time ever, this complete planner takes you from your, do this one more time since I know I'm talking a lot, but just want to be thorough here. You have your monthly 2-page open space for whatever, your weekly, and then it goes directly into your week associated with this. So this is for December 29th through January 4th. December 29, 30, 31, and then we have a blank space here. Our monthly, let's get into the next month because it'll make more sense. Actually, that's very interesting. So because the midweek, because the end of the month happens in the midweek, we have a buffer page and then the monthly. So your dailies will be split up based on where they fall on the calendar, which I think is a good thing, because if you end up putting in divider tabs, this is something that can kind of glitch people a little bit, is if the end of a month happens in the middle of the week and a planner company decides to only put that week maybe in the previous month, and then when you move into the next month, you're on like January 4th or 5th, whatever, that can kind of confuse people. You want January 1 through 3 to be behind the, or in front of the January tab. So I think that this was a good decision with this layout, because we're going to have our, December tab if you end up using it. Maybe not. Maybe you just tab with the January. But we have that spot, and then we have January. We'll see this a little bit better. Your 2 open spaces, your weekly. So here's the 29th through the, oh, that's replicated. Perfect. Plum Paper replicates as well, and it's something that I brag on them ad nauseum because I think it's a really great feature. So she has replicated, Catherine has replicated our week. Let me double check that one more time. Just want to make sure, because I know I'm going to get questions. So we have this week that is both December and January in the December area. And then, yep, December 29th to January 4th. But look, our dailies for January fall after the start of January. So if you're putting a January tab right here, you have your dailies for January inside that January tab. So here is January 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and then, wait, did I say 4th preemptively? 4th, space, week. So you have your monthly, 2 fun spaces, a week, and then your dailies. They are all dispersed or collapsed, or they're not collapsed. That is the big difference between this planner, and we will see when we flip through the A6. Well, I guess there's no daily pages in the A6 that I have, but typically in planners like this, you have all of your months collapsed, and then all of your weeks collapsed, and then all of your days collapsed at the end. And you end up having tabs for the 3 sections. And in your current week, if you're working on stuff and then you want to do some journaling for the day, you flip into the dailies section. Well, here, everything is all together. You've got 7 or 8 pages all together, both your weekly and your daily. Now I'm going to jump to the middle just for balance. First of all, just to look at this lays flat. So it does have a lay flat design. It's going to be a little bit hard to write early on just because obviously the book of the pages are over here, but you know, there's nothing stopping you from putting something underneath it if you need to prop the front off or up. So let me just go to the middle for easier flip through. So let's flip through May just one more time as a random sampling. And the other things I want to point out are some of the elements on these daily pages. So let's jump to, yeah, I like that the week is replicated in the previous month and the current month. That's the consolidated way to say it. Okay, so again, dailies, 2 pages of space, monthly. 2 pages of space, weekly, and dailies. I have always loved the Sterling ink font, so much so that I've bought 1 million of the washi material stickers to date anything I could possibly want with this font. But we've got the larger day or date, May 1st, and then Friday, 2026. Over here, Saturday, 2026, and May 2nd. So she has bracketed the 2-page spread with the dates and then putting here on the inside your actual day and year. For the daily layout, we have our hourly here, 6 to midnight. So exactly the same layout as we've seen with the weekly. And then I'm looking to see, there are some small dots here. There's a small dot between the 4 and the 5, mimicked over here or mirrored over here. And there's one here and there's one here. This is giving you a really nice mark for where the halfway point is on each line. So if you wanted to split up your daily to have some sort of dashboard look to it, you know that connecting this dot and this dot is the center line. And then if you wanted to use this dot here, you could split here and have basically, you could create a quadrant if you want to. I love how the numbers are on the last line of the grid. It is so minimal so that if you don't need hourly time blocking here, they almost just disappear on the page. They don't impact the rest of the layout. So if you are doing journaling, scripture writing, any kind of creative play, like they're next to no formatting on here, which is really, really nice. And again, look at how we have our page numbers. I think an index at the front, those first 2 pages, would be really nice because if something significant happens in your life and you're journaling about it on Saturday, May 2nd, 2026, you might forget about it. But if you just log have it be a rolling index, you write down 239, so-and-so got married or whatever. Like you at least have that call out where you can go back and be like, oh yeah, that person got married. Like, what did I write that day? So I like that. And that makes me like those front blank pages even more. So that is your layout. And I just want to see, I guess it depends on how the pages go, but like, or unless Sunday is always going to be here with a blank page. Let me do one more flip. One more flip through a week. Daily, Sunday, blank. Do one more time. Sunday, blank. I love that. That is so nice. You're always going to have a blank page. I think always going to have a blank page between the end of your dailies and the new week. You could do so much here. You could do something creative like summarizing the highs and lows of your week. You could keep this as extra note space for the things that you need to prepare for in the upcoming week without kind of messing this up. You could just brain dump here things that you are punting to the next week. Let me make sure. Yep, still in the frame here. So you've got some nice note space here. That is really nice. Yep, blank page. And then I'm just wondering then if we get to the very end of May, Sunday, blank, and then your monthly. So this is a nice spot to put your tabs if you're going to be tabbing this thing. So, and then, like I said, you have your weeks of the year are marked. That is the complete planner. Now, I could go either way on the dispersed pages, having monthly, daily, weekly in chronological order. One of the reasons why I like having the dailies separate is they're not dated, or typically are not dated, and you can come and go from them as you need to. For people who don't need a daily every single day, there's a lot of freedom in having them separate because you can just use them as notes pages. My one thing that I guess I would recommend to folks, if you're eyeing this planner and you just love that it's chronological, I would just encourage you to think about whether or not you really you're a daily planner. Are you a daily planner that will use the daily pages? And if you're not, totally cool. Are you okay with continuing on in your planner with white space? If you're cool with that, then cool. Like this is perfect because everything is in chronological order. And there's a story to be told if there's white space, right? You were too busy or a loved one passed away and you just can't, this is not a priority. Cool. But I know for someone like me, if I'm flipping through and I see a bunch of blank daily pages within the middle of my month, it might really bother me. And having enough daily pages in the back of a planner that I could go every day, but it's okay if I skip a day, I just pick up on the day that I left off on the following page. Like, yeah, that feels good to me. But, this is going to come down to personal preference. The other thing is like a daily page doesn't have to be used for daily planning and it doesn't have to be used for daily journaling. So, if you get to the end of the month and you have blank pages and it's driving you nuts, you could always just grab a scripture verse or a song lyric and just in big lettering, write it out. Write something out and fill in the page. You could use them for pen tests. If you get new washi tape one day, and you have nothing to write on the daily page and you're only using the weekly, you could swatch out your new washi tape on that day. So there are ideas for how to use the daily pages, but I would just do some hard thinking, how am I really going to feel about the possibility of unused daily pages? And it doesn't feel as serious when the daily pages are separate because they could just be notes pages at the back. Having them dispersed with the weekly and the monthly makes me feel like they have to be used in that week. And I know that they don't have to be. But again, it's a mental thing. And planners are meant to be they're meant to be a tool, right? A tool for play, for productivity, to make our lives easier, to make our lives more joyful and at peace. And so if you're going to freak out over having an empty daily, that might be something to consider. Let me just go to the back before we switch over to the A6. So we have, let's see, the full week of the end of December transitioning into January. We do have for 2026, January 1st and 2nd and 3rd. And then looks like we've got, I'm not going to do a perfect count here, 20 pages-ish, 20 pages-ish in the back, blank, no formatting at all. Of course, they continue to be numbered. At the very back of the planner, we have our pocket. Very nice pocket. Opens up quite wide. And then you do have two ribbons. Neither of them are, ooh, that kind of stuck on there. Neither of them are weighted, but they are in different colors. So you could use one to mark your month and one to mark your present week, or one to mark your goal setting page, the goal breakdown pages, or your quarterly planning pages, and then one to mark your current place. I always end up cutting these off. I don't know what it is. They just, when they don't have weights on them, like charms on them, I don't know. I don't care about them that much. Now, while we are here, look how beautiful that lays though. That is really, really nice. Very nice. And actually, even seeing this from the side, it just feels good. That's really pretty. Now, while I'm here, I do want to talk about pencil boards because I had a question on Instagram about pencil boards because I talk about a specific pencil board a lot. And someone asked me, what's the difference between the pencil board you're talking about and the JoJo's Pretty Paper Shop pencil boards? And now that we also have the one that comes, the paper one that comes with sterling ink, we're going to do a comparison. So I'm going to go ahead and open up my order from JoJo's Pretty Paper Shop right now because there is an A5 pencil board in here. The reason I never understood pencil boards until I actually started taking a Japanese style paper, like thin paper planner, to church and to meetings with me. And it just makes such a difference writing on a thin paper when you have something a little bit more structured and firm behind the page you're writing on. So let's take a look at my order from JoJo's Pretty Paper Shop because this is relevant. So first of all, let me move this guy out of the way. So JoJo's Pretty Paper Shop is located on Etsy, and I will link her Etsy shop down in the description box. She just started selling pencil boards, and she also had a pencil board bundle that I got, and it includes just this little pocket dot grid notebook just for on the go. You throw it in your purse, and it's coordinated with everything else in the bundle, including a sticker sheet. So these stickers are drawn by, I was going to say Esther, my daughter. What was I thinking? Drawn by JoJo. So the bundle has the mini notebook, 2 sticker sheets that match the design of the pencil board, and this little bookmark that comes in that bundle. So we just have a bookmark here with her floral design on it. And this is the pencil board. So obviously the difference between, or maybe not so obvious, between these two pencil boards is the material. So you can use the sterling ink one that comes in the in your planner, but it is cardboard. And I do think this is nice to have the extra calendar here because you can actually write on this if you want to. But I actually think as you write on it, you're going to get the indentation of your pen probably pushing through here, which is actually another reason why you want a pencil board. This paper is so thin. If you're a hard writer or you are using a tip that is maybe a thicker tip, or even like the needle tips I could see being really kind of pointy and pushing into the paper. This paper is soft and smooth, and that pressure on the pen to the paper is going to press and, create that situation at a hotel room with a napkin on the nightstand from a movie where someone is trying to find somebody and they see a clean napkin, and then they look down at it and they see that there's the impression of someone's location or a phone number, and they do the pencil over it, right? And then they can read what was written on top of it. That's going to happen with this paper. And so that's why you like having a pencil board. So this is the JoJo's Pretty Paper Shop pencil board that I picked up, and it is for the A5 size. One of the difference between what comes with this here with the sterling ink and hers is it's got a little tab on it. And so this little tab you can position so it's up a little bit higher, and it's going to peekaboo at the top of the page. Now you could certainly peekaboo this guy up at the top of your page too, but I think it's probably going to be most comfortable just sitting right size up, right, the way it fits. This is, I don't know what the material is, but it is definitely a plastic, I want to say, and it's got a little bit of a texture on this side, and then it's smooth on this side. And I just thought, she did a few different designs. I'll show you one of the other ones, but yeah, this pencil board can fit in here really nicely, and then you can see the tab up at the top. So there's your little like peekaboo tab. Now, as far as dimensions go, I mean, it pops out a little bit here, But honestly, I don't mind that because I can pull from the tab here, or I've got this whole lip that I can pull to open up to my current place. And it's just a really a pretty design, and adds a little bit of color to the planner. So you would just slide this underneath, and it's super thin, so it's not going to, even actually putting it, you know, strongly in between the pages and folding this down, I don't feel where that pencil board ends. I mean, I could write all the way to the end and I'm not going to fall off the pencil board. So I really wanted to highlight the JoJo's Pretty Paper Shop pencil boards. The other one that I got is in the A6 size, or excuse me, B6 size. So let me just show this to you while it's here. I think she had 4 different designs. These are not cheap to make. So, you know that they're very, very well made. So again, you have like a glossy side, and then you have a matte textured side, and you could even do it down here. If you're a bottom tabs person, let's do it this way, and you want the matte facing up, you can even put this down this way, like so, and then flip with your thumb, because some people prefer to flip with their thumb versus with their fingers up at the top. So anyways, I wanted to interject here and talk about those. She made pencil boards for A5, B6, and then I think like the Hobonichi Weeks size. So, which I think is the N1 or the N2 from Sterling Ink. So if you have one of those planners, you could pick up one of these as well. And then of course she's got that whole bundle. Now I wanted to also say, when it comes to pencil boards, I frequently talk about this. This is an acrylic pencil board. It's called a pencil board at Lail by Mail, and it's actually a stamping board. It's the same concept though, where you use this to protect the pages underneath and create a hard surface for stamping. And so someone asked, what's the difference between the pencil board you're always showing and pencil boards like this? And it's 100% the function and the material. The acrylic pencil board is going to be super thick. You don't want to use this as a page marker in planners like this. This is meant to be a tool for stamping. You want something ultra thin like this, but with enough thickness to act as a protector or a barrier between your pages and where you're writing. So just wanted to make sure that I pointed out the difference here between these pencil boards. I mean, you can see it's significantly thicker. So this pencil board has nothing to do with these pencil boards. Okay, I know we're being thorough here, but it's kind of my job. So this is the Sterling Ink Complete Planner. And I gotta say, this one is, it's giving me a bit of anxiety, to be honest, because I'm a pretty diehard hemlock and oak person. And I really, really like stamping and like doing mixed media, like inking and stuff in my hemlock and oak. That paper is so good because it's multi-dimensional. It's not the 160 GSM for creative play, like bullet journaling, Archer and Olive, and it's not as thin as this. It's like this perfect sweet spot. And I do a lot of creative things in my planners. And so I worry about adopting the common planner as a primary planner for me because it will limit my creative play. Now, some people say like, oh, the ghosting, you know, you get used to the ghosting, but when you're doing the amount of stamping that I'm doing, I don't want to get over it. Like, I don't want that level of ghosting or even bleeding on my pages. And so I have to think about, if I were to use this, it would have to be within the context of like letting go of stamping. And I know that you can stamp in it. Let me just be clear, because I know someone's going to say, I stamp in my common planner all the time. Cool. That's just not for me. So I have to figure out, especially with a hardbound, I'm going to want to do creative things in it. Am I comfortable with it just being for rub-on transfers or washing material stickers, like things that are super, super thin? Yeah, I don't know. Oh, the other thing, sorry, before we get to the A6, I wanted to show you guys at least last year's undated hemlock and oak. I will have to do a more thorough comparison once we get to the weekly daily from hemlock and oak. Those I think are still in production, but I will have that on my channel. There's gonna be a lot of hemlock and oak on my channel. But let's just take a look at this undated weekly from last year, and I just want to show the difference here. Okay, first of all, get a good look at the color. It's definitely a cream, like a soft off-white kind of cream color. Okay, now very minimalist. Oh, the other thing I want to point out that I love about these planners is there are no holidays on it. Did you guys notice that? So if we look at our monthlies, go to a monthly. Let's go to July, since July holds the 4th of July. Your monthly layouts, is this June? No, it's July. Monthly layout, no holidays, no moon phases. To me, this is so important. I'm a big fan of being able to add my own holidays. At this point, there's so many different holidays that when planner companies are trying to make sure they cover all their bases, it's taking up too much space in the monthly for a lot of holidays that I don't observe. So I really appreciate blank monthlies that are super minimalist in design. And I think that Sterling Ink has nailed it with that. I don't need the moon phases, and I do not need the holidays. I will pull up holidays or print out a list of holidays and observances for the year, and I will add them myself with stickers or with cute little boxes or whatever. So I wanted to point that out. So let's go back to a weekly. Now, again, this is an older model of the hemlock and oak, but I'm still going to show it. The grid spacing, I think, is ever so slightly larger. I think I'm gonna have to fact check the grid sizes between these two, but the hemlock and oak vertical, if it's not the minimalist, so it's the one that has the goal setting pages at the front, it is not a true A5 size. It's a little bit larger. Your hourly is from 6 to 10, still have half-hour blocks, which is good. And the numbers are within the blocks. Okay, they're not like on the line. So they stand out a little bit more, and the font is a little bit bigger. Now, again, this is undated, but here's our days of the week, and then there's spaces for adding our own dates. There's also a little bit more structure in the margin with the focus, intentions, and to-do headers. I believe that this is changing for 2026, but we will find out when I get my 2026 planner review up on the channel. But just wanted to show you the difference here. Definitely more of a white paper. And from what I understand of the weekly plus daily, which is going to be most like this, the paper color is going to be different. It's going to be a little bit more like this kind of cream off-white color. So, and it's going to be, I think, 70 GSM, whereas the original hemlock and oak, I want to say it's 110. But again, I'll have to fact check myself and add that to the description box. So just here you can see kind of the difference between those vertical layouts, which we'll, again, look at a little bit more thoroughly when I get my 2026. Actually, my weekly plus daily will be undated. My vertical minimalist will be the 2026 one. Okay, so let's take a look at this layout. This is the horizontal layout in the A6 size. The A6 size is new to me. I have never purchased an A6 size, but I have been sharing a lot lately that I really want something I can just throw in my purse, like something really small. And just for comparison's sake, again, because I like to be thorough and I'm gonna get questions, this is a B6. This is the Lauren Phelps Designs B6 notebook planner. I don't know what she calls them, but it's kind of a bit of a hybrid. So here you can see a B6, pretty standard size B6. This is the A6. And then for those that are discount folks, this is the mini happy planner. Okay. So the mini happy planner is the most similar to a B6. Okay. The other size I wanted to do a comparison of for folks who are not Sterling Ink or planners like this, softbound planners, is the pocket size Archer and Olive. Again, for comparison, it is not an A6 size. The pocket size is not A6. It's actually a little bit smaller. So the reason I was thinking for an on-the-go planner, I would prefer something like the A6 over a Pocket Archer and Olive is that it's hardbound. And I guess the hard surface would be kind of nice for writing, but it is a thicker paper, and I just want to do more creative things with this. There's something nice to me about the idea of something with a flex cover going in my purse. The way that you can kind of, look how you can just fold it over on itself. This just seems like it would be easier at doctor's appointments and on the go. So I purchased this to be used as kind of a catch-all that just has everything in it. And even as I'm like decorating on camera, I can go to, I can look at this and get all of the information I need for upcoming dates and stuff to populate my planner. Okay, so let's get into it. This is the Mist color. It says A6H Compact Full Year. I love it. I love how thin it is too. Now, compact means that it has less notes pages in the back. Okay, so it's going to be a little bit thinner, but it is a full year, so it has all the weeks represented. It just has less note pages. If you don't want the compact and you want to have one page for every day of the year, I don't know if they have that in the A6 size, but compact means less notes pages, not enough pages for daily every day. So if there's an A6 horizontal that says full, that means that it has 365 daily pages in it. And I didn't want that. I wanted something that I could throw in my purse. Okay, let's get into it. I'm actually very excited about this one for just really just getting down and dirty with, like no plans to decorate it, just have this be whatever it needs to be. So we're gonna have the same pages as the front of our previous planner, 2026 at a glance, 2 blank pages. We have our goal breakdown pages we've already seen, our yearly tracker. The only difference between this tracker and the one in the A5 complete is we have 1 row per day. That's just because we've got collapsed, right? It's a smaller thing, but you still have a row for every day, which is nice. We have our goal breakdown pages, our priorities. Still love these. Again, just a shorter section up here as a header, and then no space down at the bottom for additional notes down below. But this translated, I think, very well in the A6 size. All right, so now we're going to get into our monthly, and I'm pretty sure these are collapsed, meaning all of the months are going to be at the front, and then all of the weeks are going to be in the back. It's not going to be month, week, 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 month, week, week, week. It's going to be month, 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 week, 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 and so on. So here is our monthly for December. For January, again, no holidays. It's so nice. And even in this A6 size, I'm surprised at how much space it feels like we have. I could decorate this and still have room to write stuff. This would be a really good memory keeper too. If you feel overwhelmed by a lot of pages or a lot of space on pages and you just don't want to write a lot, you could easily just print out a picture on your Canon Ivy or whatever. That's a, 2x3. Print it out and then write a couple sentences and you're good to go. We still have our weeks of the month or weeks of the year. And I don't think I pointed this out, but the font color or boldness is more bold for the days of the month. And then these other guys, the exiting day and these days in the new month are in a more kind of grayed out date. So it's a nice way to differentiate visually between what actually is in the month and then what is coming and going. So November, December, January. This is the horizontal. I chose this because especially in this size, I am more likely to want to have lots of note space. And that's what this gives me. It is a 1-page weekly horizontally. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then open space. This to me is so nice for on the go. So I can write down any appointments or calendar specific things here. And then as I'm out and about, if something pops into my head, look how I can just fold this over and like write on it. So I see this as being so good for note taking on the go. I also think this has potential to be a really nice like fitness and wellness tracking thing, because we've got enough space for each day to write maybe what we've eaten or our fitness stats. And then we can create some sort of dash here for the week, maybe just how we're feeling, like a journaling page. So I could see this being really good for fitness and health. So I mean, part of me wants to just use this as an on the go, like write things down, keep it super messy, just, live in it really well lived in. And then part of me is like, oh, could I use this for wellness tracking? Maybe I should do the wellness tracking in my regular planner. Ooh, let's point this out. That's cool. So our weeklies are also numbered here. So the week of the year, this is week 8, is labeled up here in the upper corner. I like that. I think that is quite nice. And when we transition to a new month, that is marked underneath the day of the week. So Sunday the 1st is March, is the start of March. So here are all our weeks, and your calendar pages are not dated. It's quite all right. Let's see, we go through week 53. So we do have that kind of buffer week. And then we get to notes pages. And let me just see. These are numbered. We have 119 notes pages. That's plenty for me, especially given the fact that you're likely going to be taking notes in your week. And so I like that, having, about 119 pages in the back just for miscellaneous gobbledygook. So I really, really like this planner. I'm going to be reviewing a lot of planners here on my channel in that planner lookbook series, and most of them I will not be using just because it's too many, and I'm doing this to show you what's out there, not to actually use every single planner. But this is one that I will definitely be keeping and will figure out how to incorporate into my life. There's just something about the size of this. And I was tempted, since I already had this one, which I have not used, very tempted to use this for on the go. But now that I'm holding this, I just feel like this is too big. Suddenly the B6 feels so much bigger. So it's highly likely that this would be on the go. And then maybe this is where I want to do some fitness tracking. This one is just blank monthlies and then a ton of blank spaces, enough for daily planning. So anyways, that is the A6 horizontal, and like this feels so good. I'm like really excited about this one. Almost more excited than the complete planner, only because I'm on the fence about how I want to use the complete planner, if at all. I don't know. Anyways, so that is everything. I know we went through a lot of stuff, but it's my job here to review products. And even though this one is currently sold out, they will be restocking it. So if you missed out on the complete planner and it is totally up your alley, just wait. Make sure that you are following Sterling Ink on social media, because I'm sure they will announce when ordering opens back up. And I do think people are going to love this, and it will probably sell out again and very quickly. So if this is one that you want, move quickly and get it. Just be thinking about what you're looking for. Be thinking about those daily pages in chronological order and how you will feel about potentially having some blank pages, and if you're comfortable with just making stuff up to fill in those pages. And then the transition from being so used to that kind of Bible thin paper being on a soft bound flex cover, transitioning into a hard book cover. I feel like I'm going to forget that the paper is thin, and I'm going to treat it like it's a hemlock and oak, and it is not a hemlock and oak. And you cannot use the same pens and stamps and stuff in this that you can in a hemlock and oak. And yet the bundle of this hardbound cover is so similar. And so it's a little bit of a mind tease for me. But those are my thoughts on Sterling Ink's release, the complete planner, and this A6. If you have any questions, leave them down below. I am not a Hobonichi or Sterling Ink expert. I am a planner enthusiast, and I review planners on my channel, and these just had to be included. But please let me know if you have any questions. Come hang out with me on Instagram. My handle is The Joyful Sojourn. And if you want to hang out with me me again, you want to see what planners I end up using in 2026, or you want to see all of the other planners I will be reviewing here on my channel, make sure you are subscribed to my channel. Like I said, I will have a B5 minimalist vertical hemlock and oak coming to my channel, and I will have the weekly plus daily planner, which is new to hemlock and oak, here on my channel as well, and that will be part of that planner lookbook series playlist, which is linked down in the description box. And in that video, I will for sure bring this one next to that weekly plus daily so we can see what's going on there. So I think that's all I have, friends. Make sure you check out, questions or responses to maybe things I might have said wrong. Like, check out the description box, because that's where I'm going to add additional information. It's where I will add links to the shops referenced. I'll link JoJo's Pretty Paper Shop with the pencil boards. And yeah, make sure you check that out. Until next time, friends, God bless you. God bless you and keep you do something creative today. And I will see you in my next video. Bye.